my name is Stephanie, and today we're going to do some awesome experiments concerning sound. So while we're doing these, I want you guys to think, what is sound? Well, that's what we're going to figure out. And also think, I don't know, what do you know about sound while we do these experiments? So first things first, I'm going to introduce you to a few scientific terms that we need to know while we're doing these experiments. First is observations. Now observations are facts and information we can gather using our five senses. So right now, why don't you go out and pull out a piece of paper and make a list. Title it observations. Write down see, hear, touch, smell, and taste. Now, since we're working with sound, we probably won't have any observations for smell or taste, but we definitely will be writing some down for see, hear, and touch. Alright, another term that you guys should know is prediction. Now predictions are just ideas that you think will carry out. So I'm going to have you guys make some predictions about what's going to happen during some of these experiments. Maybe predict, the end of all of these experiments, maybe we can predict what sound is. Alright, so first things first, I'm just going to take out this handy dandy rubber band. I'm going to stretch it out like this. Oops, I'm going to pluck it. Now we're going to make some observations. What did you see? What did you hear when I stretched out and plucked it like that? Now if you're doing this at home with me, what did you feel? Well, I know that I saw the rubber band vibrating back and forth. I know that I heard that the sound would get higher and higher when I stretched out further and further, and get lower and lower when I brought it back together. And I felt the rubber band actually shaking whenever I plucked it. I could feel it vibrating on my fingers. So, now that we have some observations on this, we're going to move on to our first sound experiment. And this involves 2 cups, a pen, 2 nuts, and a piece of string. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your cup, you're going to take your pen, you're going to poke a hole in the bottom of the cup. Both of them. There we are. Then you're going to take your string, you're going to take one end and you're going to put it through the bottom of the cup. There we are. You're going to take one of these nuts, you're going to tie it to the end. And the nuts are just there to keep the string and the cup attached so it doesn't fall off. Then you'd have a broken telephone. Alright. There we are, and you do the same to the other end. So you poke it through the bottom of the cup. Just like that. Pull it through. Going to attach it to one of those nuts there. There we are. Now you're going to give one cup to a partner, camera guy, and you're going to hold on to one. Now, predict. What do you think is going to happen if one of us holds the cup up to the ear and the other one talks in? Let's see. You got to make sure you pull it really tight.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nice. Alright. And no matter how long the string is, you should still be able to hear one another. Now, what are some observations you can make doing this experiment? What did you hear? What did you see when you and your friend were talking with the cups? I'll let you go ahead and write that down. Alright, if you're able to write that down, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next experiment. Now this is pretty fun. What we're going to do is we're going to make a duck call just using a straw and some scissors. So what I have here is a bendy straw. Well, we need the bendy part, so we're going to cut that off. And make sure that you have an adult supervising because we don't want anyone getting hurt with these scissors. Alright, so now that you cut the bendy part off, we're going to flatten one end. Make sure it's really flat. There we go. And you take the flattened end, you're going to cut it into a point. There we are. Now, predict. What do you think is going to happen if I blow into this straw? Think about it for a little bit. Alright, now we're going to see if our predictions were right. That's a pretty interesting noise just to make with one straw. But listen to this. What happened when I cut the straw shorter and shorter? Did you hear the pitch getting higher and higher? Very interesting. That's an observation we can write down. What did we hear? We heard a buzzing sound coming out of the straw that got higher and higher when I cut the straw shorter and shorter. Very interesting. And what I felt was the straw vibrating. And actually the vibrations got smaller and tighter when I cut the straw shorter and shorter. So I'm going to write that down. Alright, so we have some awesome observations. We were able to make some pretty cool noises. And now, we're actually going to see how sound really works. And all you need is a bowl. I have a nice rock bowl here. A piece of plastic wrap, and a bowl of sugar. You're going to take your plastic wrap, you're going to cover up the bowl, and you want to make sure that it's nice and tight, so it's going to kind of look like a drum on the top. There we are. Next, you're going to take some sugar, you're going to sprinkle it on top of the plastic wrap. Now's the fun part, because now you get to make some noise. You might want to cover your ears because it could get loud. Because the next step is taking the bowl, you're going to hold it above your face, or sorry, below your face, and you're going to scream or sing. We should sing just to spare our vocal cords. You're going to sing right above it, and we're going to see what happens to the sugar. Whoa, did you guys see that? When I sang, the sugar on top started bouncing up and down. It actually made a kind of cool pattern. So, what do you think sound is? We saw it. We got to see sound. We got to hear sound. We even got to feel sound. But now, what is sound? Why don't you go ahead and make your last prediction? Do you think you have an idea? Our observations, we wrote down that the rubber band was vibrating back and forth. We could feel it and we can see it. We were also able to hear the pitch when we got to pluck it. The telephone, I don't know about you, but I heard some echoing going on in the cups when we were talking to the other person. And also, during the duck call, we did hear vibrations too. We felt vibrations when we were blowing into the straw. And the sound got higher each time we cut the straw shorter. And our last experiment with the sugar, we were able to see the sugar bounce up and down like it was jumping and shaking and vibrating. So, I conclude that sound has something to do with vibrations. And if you made that prediction, you are correct. Sound is vibrations through the air that push and pull air particles. So when we hear something, it's actually those air particles that are coming through our ear and hitting our eardrum. And when these hit the eardrum, it causes fluid behind the eardrum to move. This movement is converted to electric impulses that are transferred through the brain. Thus, we hear sound. I drew a little handy dandy picture here too. So here's a picture of the rubber band. When I was able to stretch it and pluck it, it was vibrating back and forth. These vibrations were causing the air around it to move. These are the air particles. And the air particles were pushed through our ear, and in our ear are our eardrum, so it's hitting our eardrum and making us hear sound. So I had a lot of fun doing these awesome sound experiments, and I hope you guys got something out of it. So go out there and make those good vibrations.